کنفرانس بین المللی در پاریس با حضور رئیس جمهور برگزیده مقاومت. بنیادی و تروریسم تحت نام اسلام، ریشه ها، راه حل ها و نقش حکومت آخوندی. 18 بهمن 1393، 7 فوریه 2015.
Madame la Présidente, c'est pour moi un plaisir. Un plaisir, une fois de plus, d'être parmi vous. Un plaisir d'être à vos côtés et à travers vous, à travers tous ceux qui sont sur le terrain de lutte, de vous dire combien je me sens solidaire de votre cause et je me sens solidaire de tous ceux qui, dans cette salle, pensent que votre combat, votre lutte, dans cette histoire des peuples, cette histoire qui a été tracée déjà par Ben Bella, par Ho Chi Minh, par Mandela, par Salvador Allende, cette dignité des peuples qui refusent l'asservissement, cette dignité des peuples qui sont capables de se relever sans cesse et de se mener ce combat à travers notre humanité. Lorsque maintenant il va y avoir à Genève la session spéciale des droits de l'homme et que nous devrions être là capables d'imposer à nos gouvernants une attitude de cohérence, à l'Europe aussi, une attitude de cohérence entre ce que nous proclamons en matière des droits de l'homme et de ce que nous adoptons comme mesure lorsque nous sommes ou dans l'enceinte des Nations Unies, ou dans l'enceinte du Parlement européen, ou à la Commission européenne, ou aux États-Unis. Je pense qu'il y a un manque de travail commun qui devrait être étudié et un petit peu approfondi. Dans mon propos, je n'irai pas trop loin parce que j'ai entendu tant de belles choses et importantes que j'estime qu'aujourd'hui, nous devons aussi être capables de dire « ça suffit ». Ce n'est pas normal que l'Europe ait été capable, à un moment donné, de nommer un envoyé spécial pour essayer de régler la question du camp d'Ashraf. Et aujourd'hui, rien n'a été fait réellement par l'Europe, et donc il nous faut être capable aujourd'hui, à partir de cette enceinte, et parmi nous par un système de réseautage, de nous adresser à la haute représentante de l'Union européenne. Eh bien, disons-lui clairement, aujourd'hui, à partir de ce lieu, que nous attendons d'elle qu'elle règle ce problème du camp de Liberty, qu'elle fasse en sorte que nous ayons, en tant que citoyens européens, les moyens d'aide et les moyens avec l'ONU d'être présents aux côtés des gens de Liberty, comme nous le faisons ailleurs dans le monde. Il n'y a pas d'exception en matière de droits humains lorsqu'il s'agit de gens qui doivent être mis sous la protection du Haut Commissariat aux réfugiés des Nations. Et puis, eh bien, c'est le moment, faisons ensemble un effort pour que la voix des Moudjahidines soit entendue au sein du Conseil de sécurité et qu'on respecte leurs droits fondamentaux. Je préside cette fédération humaniste européenne qui regroupe les organisations de la laïcité à travers toute l'Europe. Et en effet, je pense vraiment que vous soyez musulmans, que vous soyez chrétiens, que vous soyez bouddhistes, hindouistes, eh bien, tous ces gens sont éminemment respectables. C'est la première chose que nous devons faire partager par nos concitoyens. Tous ces gens sont profondément respectables. Ils ont le droit à la pratique pacifique de leur religion, dans leur temple, dans leurs églises, dans leurs mosquées. Et la loi, d'ailleurs, doit être là pour protéger ces gens, pour protéger ce droit fondamental à chacun d'avoir une croyance ou de ne pas en avoir. Parce que ce qui se passe aujourd'hui en Iran, ou ce qui se passe après ça comme effet à travers le monde entier de tout ce désordre aujourd'hui de type religieux, et qui entache ces religions, qui elles-mêmes sont profondément respectables, comme je l'ai dit. Je crois donc que nous avons là aussi, à travers vous, madame, à travers l'exemple que vous représentez, le combat que vous avez mené, nous avons l'obligation de réfléchir à effectivement comment on peut essayer, par notre capacité de dialogue, notre capacité d'être présent dans les enceintes parlementaires, des enceintes internationales, d'être capable de faire respecter ces droits fondamentaux que sont les droits de l'homme, que sont les droits des humains, pour répondre à votre préoccupation tout à fait légitime de parler des droits des femmes en même temps qu'on parle des droits de l'homme, eh bien, je vous dirais, je suis profondément optimiste à un moment aussi que le nôtre. Nous devons avoir l'optimisme de la raison. J'ai dit, Madame la Présidente.
The President, Madam Rajabi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm an Iranian medical student living in Norway. My parents were arrested by the Iranian regime when my brother was only two years old and I was only 4 months old. I learned to walk and I learned to talk in Evin prison. 8 members of my family were executed by the Mullah regime of Iran during the massacre of the 30,000 political prisoners during summer 1988. All this suffering was because of our support to MEK, the main Iranian opposition. We are gathered here today on the occasion of the 36th anniversary of our revolution, which was for freedom and democracy, but was hijacked by Khomeini, who brought for the Iranian people nothing but misery and suffering. The brave men and women who made the 79 revolution possible has nothing to do with Khomeini and his backward view. You only need to look at liberty to realize that generation has not given up their fight for freedom. And our generation are proud to join them in this battle. The world today is choked by crimes committed by extremist and fundamentalist groups such as ISIS. Long before ISIS existed or even was created, more brutal crimes were committed in Iran. During the Iran-Iraq war, the Iranian regime sent hundreds of thousands of Iranian children between 10 and 15 years old in the front line of the war to clean the minefield. At the same time, during the bloody 80s, tens of thousands were executed. More were imprisoned and tortured. The brutal regime of Iran even issued a fatwa against female political prisoners to be raped the night before they were executed. Their friends for Iran. We are here as the victim of religious fascism that have occupied our country in 36 years to warn the world of Mullah regime of Iran to the Middle East and rest of the world. We are here to say that this phenomenon, the solution to this phenomenon lies in the democratic and tolerant Islam represented by MEK opposed to Mullah fundamentalist Islam that has set a model for all these extremist groups. Ladies and gentlemen, we can promise you all that peace and security, freedom and democracy will only prevail in our part of the world the day we overthrow the brutal regime of Iran. And that day will happen. That day will come. It will happen soon by our own people, by our own resistance movement led by Madam Rajabi. Thank you.
Madam Rajabi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Azadeh Hosseini and I am representing the Anglo-Iranian Secondary School Teachers Society in the UK. When the anti-Shah revolution occurred in Iran, I was not yet born, but later came to understand the dreams of my people for freedom and democracy in that revolution. A revolution that had been hijacked by the power-greedy mullahs who were going to savagely suppress them for another 3 decades. When one reviews Iran's history between 1979 and the present day, one finds heinous crimes carried out by the clerical regime. His ambition was was to establish an Islamic empire to rule the Muslim population worldwide. The Mujahideen and Iranian resistance put the world on alert to the West that it was facing a global threat. The Mujahideen also revealed the secret nuclear weapons program of this regime. We are here to demand change. We are here to tell the Western governments on the anniversary of Iran's anti-Shah revolution that we are the voices of the Iranian people. You have wasted your time dealing with this regime. And now, for the first time in Iran's history, we have a well-organised and well-established democratic alternative to the ruling regime in Iran. You have to listen to this alternative, and let me be very clear that we Iranians recognise no legitimate president for Iran other than Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, our guests. It's an honor to be here today to commemorate the popular and brave uprisings of our countrymen and women many years ago who rid Iran of a foul dictatorship of its time. My name is Arman Kiyomanesh. I come from London, and being 26, as I've never been to Iran or visited it. Yet, when we see the youth in Iran at the forefront of all the scenes, protesting in any way that they can, from peaceful gatherings that end bloody, to the nedos who have fallen victim, and to those that just want to dance around all happy. We feed off your desire to bring about a stop to this tyranny, so that there exists no more street children, executions, tortures, and suppressions of women, so that we can all stand free amongst one another in Iran. And oh, what a dream that would be. I would like to also address the appalling way in which Camp Liberty is being managed. Having my immediate family, from mother, father, and sister amongst those in Liberty, it concerns me deeply, knowing that there is many restrictions to get to Camp Liberty. Not to mention the medical siege that's taking place at the moment, prohibiting many from getting little or any medical attention. Yet, they and their colleagues stand firm, and for that, I am nothing more than thankful for their determination and steadfastness to help those dreams of a free Iran come true. And if pride is anything to live by, then Mum, Dad, and Elham, you've given me enough. You've given me enough to last many generations to come. I'd like to conclude by saying that we stand by those in Camp Liberty and those in Iran who are all dedicated to risking their lives for making a better Iran, an Iran without religious dictatorship and a free and secular government. And I urge the international bodies such as the UN and the US, who have promised our families their safety, to fulfill their obligations. Thank you.
My name is Sipido Arafa. I am 19 years old and I live in the Netherlands, where I study communications and media at the University of Rotterdam. 36 years ago, the people of Iran decided that it was time to take matters into their own hands. They got on the streets, they cried out their hopes, wishes, and ambitions for the future. They wanted a free Iran, and they were about to get dreams were taken away by the religious clergy. My heart especially goes out to the women of Iran, the women who have to live their lives in fear of their own government throwing acid in their beautiful faces, knowing that their country's system is not there to protect them, but to serve them more injustice instead. They have suffered enough, and that is why I stand here today as a representative of the resistance youth. And I want them to know that we are more determined than ever to change the situation and to eventually enjoy democracy and freedom altogether. But most of all, I want them to know that they will get their promised revolution, this time without any hijackers or fundamentalists. Together with Maryam Rajavi, the people of Iran will win the fight against injustice, and it will be a sweet victory.